After 9 nights at Grand Tetons, it was time to hit the road again. This time we're heading to Colorado.
Along the way, we stopped in Vernal, Utah, where we stayed at our first hotel since I had the COVID. We needed a hotel stay to get 9 days worth of laundry cleaned, to get caught up on our digital and social correspondence and editing, and obviously always getting a bite to eat. Then we went to Dinosaur National Monument, one of the sites we were very excited about seeing just outside of Vernal, Utah.
We came here to see the Dinosaur Monument. What we learned is that it's actually a dark sky site. And in addition to the Dinosaur National Monument, there's all kinds of camping. So we put this on our list to go back to do some actual camping here.
The monument is very cool. In addition to the exhibits, we also had the opportunity to hike a trail that had some of the artifacts and some of the site details that the whole monument is dedicated to. So we took the trolley up and then ultimately hiked back down where we started. The story of the monument is actually pretty cool. A paleontologist that had for, I think, at least a decade been excavating a wealth of dinosaur bones from this area decided that it might be more useful, instead of just taking all of the bones out, instead to leave everything kind of in the situation where some of it was exposed and other paleontologists could come and study this site and learn about how the bones could be found, how to uncover them. And so he dedicated this site to being more of an educational facility rather than excavating every single one of the dinosaur bones they could possibly find, which is what they had done previously at a lot of sites. So very cool mission and really neat place to visit.
Once we got done with our blistering hot hike, we got back to the visitor center. We were going to get everybody some of these toy dinosaurs, but honestly, we just didn't have room in the car to bring them back. We did, however, stop by the gas station to fill up the tank with some expired dinosaur juice. I also tried to get the dead bugs off the windshield with very little success.
With that, we wrapped up our time in Utah and moved on to Colorado. By the way, this is what rest areas look like in Colorado.
Our first night in Colorado was spent at Golden Gate Canyon State Park. Nice picnic table. It's a nice camp. It's a very nice campsite. All was well. That is, until we tried to stake in the tent.
Yeah, it seemed that about 6 inches underneath the gravel on the tent pads, I don't know, it seemed like it was concrete, because once we got to that depth on almost every single stake, they stopped going in. And in some cases, 2 cases in particular, we bent the heavy-duty stakes that we use for these tents. So we switched to 2 shorter stakes for those 2 spots and got it to work, but it was very frustrating. We headed from the campground to Rocky Mountain National Park. got through the initial check-in area and got to the campground check-in area and ran into a problem. We had left our campground a day early. We were supposed to stay for 2 nights. We only stayed for 1. So we had to find another place to stay for 1 night, and we came across the landings in Estes Park, which was actually a great recovery for a mistake. It was fantastic.
Perfect. After a very relaxing accidental rest day, it was time to go and check into our campground at Rocky Mountain National Park. We had some time to kill beforehand, so we stopped by the Beaver Meadow Visitor Center. The Visitor Center itself is a historic landmark.
When we arrived in the park, the weather was fantastic, but as we started putting up the tent, the storm that had been promised for a couple of days started to roll in, so we had to move quickly to get not just the tent up, but the awning and the additional guidelines up so that we didn't collect any rain. Once the storm moved through, the temperature dropped dramatically, as you can see.
In the morning, we decided to take a hike up to Cub Lake.
It was chilly, overcast, very low-hanging clouds, and a mist all day. Never got out of the 40s for the entire hike.
Seen other evidence, but that's the most kind of obvious, you know? How far do you think we've come? Where do you think we've come? After this, do you want to go to the Marine Park Discovery thing? I just realized I don't think I got this when we came up because I was concentrating on stepping. I think it's really pretty. Stay safe, little bunny.
We'd been on the lookout for elk during our hike, but we didn't see any until we got back to the campground, and then they were everywhere.
We stayed in the Moriane Park campground, and this area is known for elk activity, so we were constantly able to enjoy wonderful views of large herds of elk. We also saw lots of deer, like this example where a young male was trying to join a family of 2 females and a mother, and the mother was being very strict and not allowing any of this to happen.
We had a great time hiking and watching the local wildlife, but it was chilly and a good amount of our time was spent trying to figure out how to stay warm.
High of 45 today, folks. High of 45. I'm going to do a hot water bottle. Pour out all the stops. Nice and cozy warm out here?
Sure.
Yeah. Looks a little less misty than yesterday.
The cloud is lower, but it is, yeah, I agree. It's less misty. There's less coming down.
Because of the weather conditions, we decided maybe it's a good idea to make this a town day. Estes Park is maybe about 20 minutes away from our campground, so it was easy to drive in and check out the town. We started with grabbing some lunch at a really excellent restaurant called Bird and Gems. Had an amazing pheasant chowder, smoked pheasant chowder there, which was incredible and exactly what I needed to get warmed up. Followed up with Starbucks. Once we were warm and caffeinated, it was time to check out some of the sights at Estes Park, including the Stanley Hotel, which is a historic hotel built by the inventor of the Stanley steamer and famous for paranormal activity as well as having a lot of the Hollywood films set here. After checking out the Stanley, it was time to go and check out the rest of Estes Park.
That's the entertainment option. I don't. Yeah.
Running down the same road like so many times before. I never felt as lonely, but I'm trying not to show. They said it would be easy, still I'm giving all I got. I just want to tell you something, it must have been something I forgot. All this time, it was never enough, so please slow down. I'm just trying to find my...
This was another tough day. It was 2 days in a row of cold temperatures in the 40s, overhanging clouds, just kind of dreary. But as we kind of muscled our way through the day, the town day turned out to be great. We got to see lots of interesting sights. There are a ton of really cool shops and stores and restaurants throughout Estes Park, and we had a great time, including a couple great meals by the end of it.
Running down the same road, hope it leads me somewhere new.
And finally, the cold weather broke, and we had some great weather and got to see a lot more of the park, including more deer.
And we finally got a boy moose on film.
Guess I never thought it through. My head's been in the wrong place, where to
Near Sheep Lakes, where we saw the moose, there's an area called the Alluvial Fan. There's a little hiking trail, so we took that and explored the area. It's a collection of falls down the mountain, so very pretty.
It's nice staying in the park because you don't have to deal with time entry or any special permissions to get into the park or go to certain spots. The negative is that you're stuck with the facilities that are available, and it just so happens that in Rocky Mountain there are no shower facilities. They do have these shower stalls that you can use with a solar shower. However, because it was so cold, our solar showers did not heat up. Luckily, we brought up the hot tap, which is a on-demand hot water system, and we were able to take at least 1 or 2 showers using this system.
Propane. Power for the pump. This is the pump. These going into our solar bags, water bags. 10 gallons. And there she is.
Rocky Mountain National Park also has a shuttle system, and we took advantage of that to go and visit Bear Lake.
I'd suggest waiting for the next one, but it'll be just as packed, so. Information. Oh. No swimming in Bear Lake, babe. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all.
Bear Lake is a small little hike around a small little lake, but the trails connect up with a longer hike, a couple of hikes that connect to a series of lakes.
So we'll go, this is what we think, right? Nymph Lake, and then Dune Lake. I think Emerald Lake, right? I'm gonna put the GoPro in the water.
So after our hike, we got back to camp, and as we did most afternoons, we went to Moriane Park to check out what we called Elk TV, which was the drama of what was happening with the elk herds in the Moriane Valley. This particular day started off interestingly enough with the bull of the herd being convinced by a number of the does to move the location of the herd. About the same time, a number of bulls from another herd started making noise at the other end of the park, and then 4 of them rushed toward the herd we were watching and started to infiltrate the herd. So there was a very young buck and a couple of middle-aged bucks, and one of the middle-aged bucks kind of tried to go toe-to-toe with the main bull of the herd and eventually got chased off.
On the last day of camp, we switched up our setup. We put away the big tent and set up the little tent. This was to help us the next morning because we had a full day and we had to get an early start. This is Manitou Springs. We stopped here for a very special adventure. We're about to go to the top of Pikes Peak.
To be clear, we're not hiking and we're not driving to the top of Pikes Peak. We're taking a cog train.
a photograph of us, without cares and worn out clothes. Doesn't seem so long ago. Now I'm just sitting here bored at home, and it really got me thinking of the times we took off on the road. I can't remember where we headed that night. We were cruising around town in Memphis, running the lights. I just know how it felt. I won't forget that. Windows down and open top, but we were clever not to take it too far. Though it's hard not getting tempted, calling you up to see how you've been. Cause don't I miss you and all those things we did back then. Way back then. It's funny how times roll by.
So really quick, what time do we throw the trees?
3:10.
What time am I locking the doors?
320.
What do people call it that show up at 321?
Stop.
Hikers. People around here are hikers. You made it to South America's mountain.
Drove up here.
Wow.
Of steam in Paris, but I wanted to stay cause I know how it felt when we raised hell. I won't forget that. But we were clever not to take it too far, though it's hard not getting tempted, calling you up to see how you've been. Cause don't I miss you and all those things we did back then. Way back then. Killing time, Friday night, found a photograph of us. I can't remember what we did that time. We were spending one night in Venice. It just slipped my mind. I just know how it felt. I won't forget that. Windows down and open top. But we were clever not to take it too far. Though it's hard not getting tempted, calling you up to see how you've been. Cause don't I miss you and all those things we did back then. Way back then. Way back then.
We only got about 20 minutes at the top of Pikes Peak. That's what the train allows for. But it was amazing to see those incredible views and actually get to see a bighorn sheep. On the way down, the train kind of erupted in excitement because we got to see a mama bear with her 2 babies.
In addition, we spotted a golden eagle, a ptarmigan, and our favorite, a yellow-bellied marmot.
Alright, we'll leave everybody with this final joke. I hope you were the peak of your afternoon today.
Pikes Peak was amazing, but we had to still get to our next campground, and we've kind of broken one of our rules in showing up after dark, so we had to set up camp in the dark.
Despite working at night, looks like we got the tent up and straight and connected to the ground properly, so that was good. We were at a KOA outside of Alamosa, Colorado, and we had big plans for the day.
We're at yet another national park. We're at the Great Sand Dunes National Park, home of the tallest sand dunes in North America. this is one of those places where the video just can't do it justice. The vastness, it really can't get captured on film properly.
Look at the boards and the wax. The wax is very important.
So one of the cool things you can do here is to sand sled. And so we rented these sleds from the KOA. You have to wax them up. I changed into my boots. And we hiked all the way back to the area of the dunes where you can do the sled. It's very cool, very fun.
After observing some of our fellow sand slayers, it was time for us to give it a go ourselves.
Woo! Whoa! Good job, babe. Woo! That was awesome. Pretty sure I just got Scott. We'll see. Oh, fuck. Oh. It is so steep. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm fine. I got scared though. Once you go, you really go. Watch your feet, careful. You're welcome. That's a great one. Whoa! Wow!
Colorado
That was
gave us a
amazing.
lot. It gave us peaks, it gave us weather, it gave us sand, and the infinite beach of the great sand dunes. We had a great time.